Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Gina Pappas, and I will be presenting today's content, Earned and Owned Media versus Paid Media. We'll go ahead and get started. Just to give you a little bit of background on Albers Communications Group, for more than 15 years, Albers has been a trusted partner to our local and national clients, and our experts have built our reputation on integrating PR and digital marketing strategies, which is something I'm going to talk to you about today in terms of how earned, owned, paid, and shared media work together. We also have built our reputation on effective storytelling, and that's because we have significant news media expertise. We understand what types of stories the media wants to tell. We understand the right way to tell them and the right way to work with journalists in order to maximize the impact for our clients. We also offer scalable solutions for organizations of all types. So whether you're a small company or a large company, we have something that will suit your needs, and we're able to help you achieve your goals through these scalable solutions that we offer to everybody.
The conference has been muted.
As I said, today my name is Gina Pappas. I'm the president of Albers Communications. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions, or you can follow me on Twitter or connect with me on LinkedIn. And here's a look at what I'm going to cover today. So first of all, I'm going to walk you through the types of media and help you gain a better understanding of the paid, earned, shared, and owned media channels. I will then talk a bit about paid search placement versus free search placement. Then we'll go into how using integrated strategies and taking pieces of each one of those types of media can help you achieve maximum results. We'll talk about analytics and tracking because everybody wants to know the return they can expect on their investment when it comes to using these types of media. And then I'll walk you through key takeaways. So this model here I'm going to share with you is called the PESO model. And PESO stands for Paid, Earned, Shared, and Owned. And this is really something that we lean on in PR. And it's something that has developed over the years as social media has become more of a factor in how we tell stories, as the impact of the blogger network has had an impact on how we tell stories. But paid media encompasses things like optimized content, Facebook-sponsored content, shared content, promoted tweets, lead generation campaigns, pay-per-click campaigns. So we'll talk about that, and we firmly believe that paid has a piece of the puzzle as far as your communication strategy, but if you're leaning on it to be your entire communication strategy, you're probably missing some valuable opportunities. And those opportunities come in terms of the earned, shared, and owned media. So earned media, when we talk about that, is really the media relations piece, the blogger relations piece, working with bloggers and earning their trust and having them tell your story on your behalf and creating advocates out of these blogger relationships. Also investor relations. Earned media can apply to your internal audiences as well, and there should be a communications strategy geared toward your internal channels. So investor relations is also a part of the earned channels. Shared media, that's things like your social channels, because as much as you own the content, the social space is a shared space in terms of people being able to share that, interpret it the way they want to, comment back to you, have a dialogue with other members of your audience. So although you control the content you push out, you share the message of that content with your audience because they can shape it the way they want to and talk about it the way they want to. And then your owned media channels are things that you create. So they might be your website. They might be your email content. They might be customer testimonials that you've worked with people to share and created on your behalf. So you can see here through this model that all of these things overlap in some way. And really what we're trying to get to is the sweet spot in the middle where you're utilizing paid, earned, shared, and owned media, not necessarily equally, but intelligently and in a way that makes the most sense for your company. So I'll talk you through how that can be done on the next several slides. Again, just to summarize what earned and owned media look like. Your earned media is your media relations, your blogger relations, and creating brand ambassadors out of your employees or your customers. So if you're conducting a recruiting campaign, you need to hire a team of people, you may lean on your employees to tell your story, and you've earned their respect. You've earned their ability to tell that story and serve as an advocate on your behalf. Same thing with your customers. The owned channels, your blogs, your email newsletters, Webinars, videos, and podcasts, those are owned channels because you completely control the message. There is no opportunity for sharing the content or sharing the outcome of the content. Of course, it's open to your audience's interpretation, but in terms of the message you're sharing, you're not really giving people a chance to interact with it, so it's purely an owned media outlet. Advantages to earned and owned media. They're credible. Publicity that is gained through the media is often more credible. It's earned, whether it's from a blogger who you follow or who has a good reputation in your industry and has a large following, whether it's through the news media, the traditional news media. Earned media creates credible publicity. It also results in memorable stories. I know that I will see a story on the news and I'm far more inclined to share that and remember it with the people around me than I am to remember or recall or share an ad. So you have to think about the credibility that earned media offers and the fact that people remember it and it sticks with them and it generates buzz and people talk about it. And it also, through the own channel, gives you total control of the message. In terms of disadvantages, earned and owned media can require a bit of patience before you see the return on your investment. So we always say in PR that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You can't pitch one story to a media outlet, one story to a blogger, and expect magic to happen and expect exposure to come with that. It's something that you have to have a very coordinated strategy around. It has to be ongoing. You have to develop your strategy far in advance so that you're creating opportunities to have appropriate touch points with the news media, with the bloggers that you're working with. So it requires some patience, it requires strategic planning, and it requires dedication. It's also a little harder to calculate the ROI. We can look at things like ad value for a story. We can look at impressions. We can look at the reach or subscriptions, the social reach that a blogger has who is sharing your story. But tying it back to a direct sale, if that's your objective, trying it back to whatever your objective is, can be a little more challenging with the earned and owned channels. And there are also no guarantees of coverage. There's also no guarantees of how the story is going to be told if it is covered. So you can execute a PR plan to the T, and you may end up with a story that isn't exactly what you wanted. So you lose a little bit of control of your message, and you can't guarantee that it's going to get covered at all. So that's why, again, we say it's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to stick with it so that you can provide your company with the most opportunities for coverage. So now we're going to move into looking at paid search placement. And I think everyone is probably a savvy enough online user at this point to know the difference between paid search placements and organic search placements. However, there is data that still exists that suggests that the paid placements are less credible than the earned social placements. So if you're looking at Google and you do a search for pizza in Omaha, you can see the arrow here. Pizza West is a paid search result. And that's fine. You can pay. You can get to the top by paying and investing a certain amount of money in your click campaign. But it does show, statistics show that 96% of people will bypass those top paid ads and go to the organic results. And that's the message that we really try to impress upon our clients, is that you're going to do far better with an owned and dedicated organic search campaign than you are with a paid campaign, especially if you're relying on your paid campaign to do all the work for you. So we'll talk about where paid media like this can come in and be an asset to you, but it shouldn't be your sole source of online traffic because people do generally see it as less credible. So the advantages, though, is that you get that top placement. You're likely to be at the very top of the page, results 1 or 2, and some people really want to see that, and that's their goal, whether they get it through paid or organic means. They want to be at the top. It also can be much faster than pounding away at an organic SEO strategy. You can buy the campaign, you can buy it for certain words, and there you are. And it's an immediate gratification, which is important as well for some people. And increased exposure. Whether people bypass your link or not to go down to the organic, they're going to see you at the top, and so it does result in increased exposure. Like I said, in terms of disadvantages, it offers fewer clicks. 96% of users will bypass those top ad paid results to go to the organic results because they find them more credible. So you're dealing with a little bit less reputable of a strategy if you're relying solely on paid media to do the organic or to do the SEO work for you. And anyone can do it. So that really ties back to why it gets fewer clicks. Again, people are savvy enough to know that they're looking at an ad. They know that anyone can buy that ad, and they want to get the best result. If they're looking for the best pizza in Omaha, maybe they want to look at what is there organically, what people are talking about through channels like Yelp or Google reviews, and not necessarily look at the person who paid for the result to get to that spot. So this page shows you organic search results. So towards the top we have Mama's Pizza. This is below the map, below the ads, the click that you can click on through the paid SEO campaign. This is more organic. So again, they come towards the middle of the page, but you may look at these and people are more inclined to look at these and click through to these because they know that they're here because people have talked about them, because it's a company that has dedicated its content strategy to showing that they are the most reputable and that they want to earn your business. Again, there are disadvantages and advantages to this free and organic search strategy. It provides organic results. That's the advantage. You're getting there because you've really pounded away at the strategy. You've done your website correctly. You've built your content correctly. You've generated enough buzz that people are talking about you. People are visiting your website, and that's why you're towards the top. It also illustrates your knowledge and expertise because you've done all of those things, and it reinforces your positive reputation. You didn't get there because you paid to get there. You got there based on the merit of your product. And these, of course, like I said earlier, these are the types of search placements that receive more clicks. The disadvantages, though, they require patience. If anyone tells you that they're going to execute an organic SEO strategy for you and you are going to be at the top within a month, 2 months, even 3 months, it's probably not true. You really need to be aware of the promises that are being made by people who are claiming to do organic search for you because true organic search requires a lot of patience. It can be 6, 9, even 12 months before you see the results that you want to see, but it requires consistency as well. So if you're going to develop a blog and use that as your primary method for getting people to your website, then you need to consistently be pushing content that is relevant to the search terms people are looking for out to that blog. So having a consistent method for updating your website, pushing out content consistently that is going to be relevant to your end user is what you want to do if you're executing a free search placement strategy or an organic search strategy. And again, there are no placement guarantees. So you can't guarantee that you're going to be at the top, and that can be hard for some people if your objective is to be at the top. Some companies want to see that at any price. There are no guarantees once you get to the top that you're going to stay there. It changes a lot. Google changes their algorithm a lot, so you really have to have someone who is dedicated to understanding that and committed to staying on top of it if you want to maintain a top placement in the organic search game. There are additional paid media channels that we can talk about besides paying to be at the top of Google. We have advertising, of course, which is still relevant but has changed so much with the advent of digital media. Commercials, billboards, direct mail. So you can incorporate online advertising into your strategy in any number of ways, whether it's through apps on newspaper websites or other media sites. You see online ads everywhere, and they're available to purchase, and they can be very powerful tools. We just encourage our clients to look at the analytics and the data behind those ads available from the person or outlet that you're purchasing the ad from so that you understand the type of ROI you can expect before you invest money into it. Advantages of some on this newspaper's website, and it's going to be on the desktop version and the mobile version. And you can see it quickly. These campaigns are available quickly. You get the instant gratification of seeing your ad there, and you know exactly what you're getting for your money. And you can control the reach and frequency according to your budget, and that definitely has its place in a strategy as well. The disadvantages are that it's less memorable. Most people click out of an ad directly as soon as they see it, and it's important to get from the outlet you're purchasing from the data that they have that supports how many people are actually clicking through on the type of ad you're considering purchasing. It's also a very diluted market. There's a lot of advertising. It's become very clogged, from videos that air before a news story to banners on the side to pop-ups. It's very crowded space to be in, and again, that leads to the fewer clicks and the lower credibility, again, because you can purchase it, anybody can purchase it. So how do I know that it's a reputable product just because someone could purchase the campaign? You don't know that. So it's something to be aware of as you're considering your audience and your channels. So what we recommend is utilizing an integrated strategy for all of these. So we want to take the earned content, we want to take the different pieces of that PESO model and help them work together. So if we're executing an earned media strategy for our clients, we're going to be pushing out news releases, for example, to the media. You can convert those news releases to your blog posts, or you can post them in your online newsroom, and suddenly you've repurposed your earned content and converted it to owned content in the online space, which over time and done consistently is going to help with your organic free search placement. You can also share a similar message on your shared channel, which are your social channels. So you want to take what you're doing in the offline space through earned media and maximizing it by converting the message for your audience in the owned space and the shared space. You also want to create consistent shared content. So if you're going to rely on you're going to divide your pie of your PESO model and dedicate more to your shared strategy, you need to be sure you're posting regularly. And the very bare minimum that we generally recommend for clients is about 3 times per week and upwards from there. But you have to be posting regularly if you want news to show up in your fans' feeds. If you want the page to index in any type of search, you need to be creating a consistent content strategy. Another valuable tool for your shared content strategy is to link to online news stories. So if you're going to talk about search and how to get the most bang for your buck from a free search placement strategy, it can be as simple as pitching a story to the media, having them share it on their online news sites, and it links back to your website through the content of that story. That's called backlinking, and it's an incredibly valuable tool when it comes to executing a free or organic social media and SEO strategy. And then you want to create relevant owned content. So throughout your website, you should have the knowledge of what types of keywords people are searching for and how you can incorporate that into your content on your site. If it means creating certain pages for your website that are dedicated to what you ultimately want people to find you for, what services you offer, you should create or build out separate pages for that content. And you should also have someone who is familiar with back-end SEO to make sure you're optimized in the places that aren't forward-facing, that aren't necessarily what your audience is reading from a content standpoint. So you want to have a site that's professionally done, that is executed well from an SEO standpoint, both on the front end and the back end, and you want to work with someone who has knowledge of those things and can guide you along the way, help you develop the content, do the keyword research that's going to pay off for you in the long run. And then you want to make everything shareable. Again, it's the power of backlinking. So if you're developing a blog, you absolutely have to have your share buttons on that blog so that your audience can share it and people can click back to your blog and browse around your website from seeing that shared content on someone else's channel. Analytics and tracking are a huge piece. Everyone is concerned with ROI and how do we measure the value of our integrated strategies, whether it's paid, earned, shared, or owned. And there are a number of ways you can do that. Through your own strategy, if you're talking about your website, definitely have Google Analytics installed on your page so that you can develop patterns and see what patterns people are taking when they get to their site. How are they getting to your site? What search terms are they using to get there? What's their point of entry? What pages do they visit the most? How much time do they spend on your site? And then you need to take an ongoing look at that and say, this is how we need to tweak our site because these are the patterns people are utilizing. This is where we want them to go and how do we get them there. So Google Analytics is an incredibly powerful tool for being able to track user behavior patterns and tweaking your website according to what you want your audience to do. Media impressions, if we're talking about earned media, typically the client likes to see what type of media impact it has in the way of impressions. So how many people did that story reach? What is the news outlet's audience? How many people were exposed to the message? Search rankings, of course, if you're looking at a paid strategy or supplementing any of this with a paid SEO strategy, you want to be towards the top. Of course, relying on solely a paid strategy could get you there faster. Again, it's not as reputable, but even executing an organic search strategy should be paying attention to where you're showing up on Google or on your search engine that is most important to you, and tweaking your strategy appropriately really as often as you're looking at your analytics, which should be on a very frequent basis. And then for your email, which would be an owned strategy, you want to look at things like open rates, click-through rates. Again, it can help you establish patterns and ideas about the user. What articles are they clicking on? Who is opening the email? How are they using it? Are they sharing it? And then you can continue to push out the type of content that the user is finding most relevant if you've created a pattern and been able to identify patterns within the user behavior as far as opens, click-throughs, shares. So the key takeaways I want to share with you today, we really recommend earned and owned media as primary strategies. They're the most reputable strategies. They allow you the most control over your message, and they provide sort of a spillover effect into your shared strategies. You can also use SEO to boost your free search placement. So again, it's having consistent content that you're putting on your website that you're pushing out, maybe through a blog, maybe through video, maybe through an online newsroom, but consistently utilizing your website in a way that is friendly to search engines from both a front end and a back end standpoint. Creating an integrated online strategy. So don't just have a website, you have to push it out to people in different ways. You have to utilize your social channels. You have to link your email newsletter articles back to your website so that you're getting people to explore it in that way. Your YouTube has to link to your website. So all of those pieces have to integrate. They all have to work together, and you have to be able to get to from one to the other in a seamless way so that you're fully integrating all of those steps from the PESO model. Also, use analytics to track results. It's the only way you're going to be able to establish user behavior patterns and tweak your content so that it works best for your audience. So whether it's media impressions, whether it's looking at Google Analytics, whether it's looking at your email analytics, really dedicate some time to looking at what that looks like and how you can tweak it so that you're giving relevant content to your target audience. And then accept that it's an ongoing process. If we've convinced you that having a paid strategy isn't the best way to go in terms of credibility and reputation and sharing an organic search message, accept that you're going to be in it for the long haul, that it's going to require consistency, that it's going to require a content strategy that speaks to keywords and how people behave, and accept that you may need some outside help with that, and that's really what we're here to do. That concludes the content of today's webinar. Thank you so much for your time and for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can visit our website, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and we hope you have a great day.